Stefania Wilczejewska cared for hundreds of children orphaned during the Holocaust. In the end, she chose to perish with them rather than escape. Apologies for the pronunciation of her surname. Polish is not easy. Stefania, known as Stefa to her charges, was born in Warsaw in 1886 to a wealthy Jewish family. She went to university to study to become a teacher in both Belgium and Switzerland. When she returned, she began caring for impoverished Jewish children at an orphanage, against her family's wishes. In 1909, she met Janusz Korczak, a Jewish doctor, author, and humanitarian. He began operating a Jewish orphanage in Warsaw with a very progressive ideology. He became well known in Poland for his children's literature, radio show, and other endeavors. He would say that children are not the people of tomorrow, but the people of today. But because he was so well known, Stefa, his closest colleague, often becomes overshadowed to history, and indeed, we don't know as much about her. However, we know that the orphanage could not have operated without her, and Korczak could not have gotten as much writing done without her. During the First World War, she took care of the children and looked after the orphanage as Korczak was away in the army. Over time, the orphanage on Krochmalna Street became famous for its revolutionary care of children in need. Former residents said of Stefa,
Mrs. Stefa was with us, dormitory students, all day long. She got up before us, was the last to go to bed. She kept working even when she was sick.
The home was full of Mrs. Stefa. We could always feel her regard, her care.
She even kept up with former residents long after they left the orphanage. In a letter to a former resident who had suffered the loss of a child, Stefa wrote,
My dear child, I send you a tight, tight embrace, like the ones I would give you when you were young and something troubled you.
In 1935, Stefa traveled to Palestine, where she lived until 1939 when the war broke out. There, she studied how children were cared for on kibbutzim. The group she stayed with urged her not to return, but she could not abandon Korczak or the children. The number of orphans in their care began to increase, and not long after the outbreak of the war, they were forced into the Warsaw Ghetto. There, the pair and their staff did their best to care for the ever-multiplying number of children who had no one to look after them. In August of 1942, the residents of the orphanage were told they would be sent east. Korczak was offered escape many times, but refused. A survivor of the ghetto, Yehoshua Pearl, watched Stefa, Korczak, the staff, and orphans as they walked toward the train. He said,
A miracle occurred. 200 children did not cry out. 200 pure souls, condemned to death, did not weep. Not one of them ran away. None tried to hide. The very stones of the street wept at the sight of this procession.
Stefania, the staff, and all of the children were gassed on arrival at Treblinka.